Hello and welcome to the Tuesday afternoon Q&A. It's great to have you joining us. I can see some more people coming in on the screen. If you've got some questions planned, I've got some extra guests with me coming up later on. There they are, Stacey, Gemma and Michelle up on your screen. So if you've got some really hard questions, I can give them all the hard questions. So do keep them coming in today. It's we can talk about everything that we've been through just recently. We can even go back to this online. We could talk about the Pentecost service. We could talk about some of the what lockdown series that's been going out. But as we've got Gemma as well, we can also bring in conversation about her parenting videos or even her wild experiments that she's been getting up to. So we've got plenty of opportunity coming up. But let's roll the intro and then we'll get on with this afternoon. So, hello again. So, have you got some questions for us this afternoon? That would be good. Of course, we could also talk about things happening in the news. Maybe you want to sort of say, what do you think about what's going on with the relaxation of lockdown? We can't change any of that, but we could talk about it here. If you've got questions, you just need to put it in as a comment here on the live stream. Some of the comments, usually not all of the comments, I put up here on the screen for everybody to see, and those are the ones we can talk about. So if you've got something there, we've got a few people saying hello. Hello, Daniel Abell. Glad that you are watching this afternoon. Brian Ward is also saying good afternoon. Shona's out there saying hello. But it would be good to have a few more people commenting on what's going on, and then very, very shortly we'll be bringing in Stacey, Gemma and Michelle to also be part of this broadcast. It's I haven't got any comments coming in. Is everybody still connected out there? That is even just send me a message that just says yes, I'm watching. That would be cool. I mean, it tells me there's a load of people watching, but I'm just beginning to wonder because it's not normally this quiet, but it is. Who knows? Maybe you're thinking up those extra hard questions right now for Gemma. If you've been watching the What Lockdown series, how have you enjoyed the changeover from when we were going through Acts, discovering the beginnings of that church, moving through to where we are now as we go through the book of Philippians, actually looking at Paul writing that letter 10 years after that first sort of excursion into Europe, which really is the foundation of all the churches in Europe we got today. Christine says she's watching. Great to have you watching there, Christine. And Jossie and Hannah are here. Hey from Jossie and Hannah. Hey from Paul. John has asked me a question. Do I dare put it up? It's a John question. You can always tell John questions. It's not this one. Hi. It's this one. What can we do as Christians in Scarborough to make sure people from all ethnicities are welcome in our church and community? There we go. I wonder if they have some ideas on that. Maybe we could have some ideas coming through as we go along. I can hear my wonderful team in the background, so I'm going to bring them in now so that as we get more questions, maybe we can even discuss this one. Are we a church that is welcome or being welcoming to all ethnicities in the church and community? John says you asked for hard questions, so it obviously was intended to be for you guys. So let's bring you in and see. There they all are. Hard questions, especially for you. Probably we need to ask the person that is qualified. Maybe someone that's got a BA in mission and theology, someone like that. Have we got? Oh yeah, Michelle, that would be you. Sorry, Michelle. Yeah, Jossie Barrett is pointing out there's a lot of background noise from somebody. I don't know who that is. Somebody's moving around. They all look very, very still to me, Jossie. But I know it's not me because it's in my headphones and the noise I make doesn't go there. Anyway, silent, complete silence. Yeah, Stacey, this isn't your question, but how are you doing? Yeah, you're looking good. Yeah. Are you? I don't want to put you in an awkward position, but are you able to say what it is that you do from home? I don't know whether you are. People watching might be interested a little bit about you.
A computer a lot more. That's definitely been a challenge and something to adapt to.
Oh, right. Okay. We missed some of what you said at the beginning. Could you just repeat what you said at the beginning? Your mic wasn't coming through properly. So why are you at
Yeah.
home? What are you doing at home? Sorry, you felt
Oh,
like you're
so I'm.
repeating
I
yourself, but
work for.
honestly, you're not because you were
I work for
muted.
a. Yeah, I work in the police, but at the moment I can't go to work because I'm pregnant and I'm classed as vulnerable. So that means that I work from home, and it's meant like lots of changes and adapting to things like that, being at a computer a lot. So it's been a challenge, but I feel like I'm starting to find my groove. Well, I found my groove now, and yeah, we're kind of getting into things. It's good.
Wonderful. And you, for those of you for those watching that don't know, you are married to John or Jonathan, who is sort of working behind the scenes quite often on what we're doing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Michelle, let's go over to you. Tell us a bit about what you're up to these days. It's good to have you here. Welcome.
Thank you. Um, well, I'm still in touch with people in the community as community angels, obviously going out and visiting people and not going into people's homes, but just checking up on people and
Yeah.
just doing the practical stuff and just generally just making sure people are keeping themselves safe and well and just communicating that we're here for them.
Yeah. Um, Obviously, without mentioning any names, what sort of thing would you say, recently has made a difference to somebody in the things that you're doing?
Just generally, I think that for a lot of people, they are on their own and they don't have anybody to talk to,
Mm.
where family may be out of Scarborough. So just having someone to talk to on a regular basis has been really nice, or meeting up, which I have done with social distancing. But we've gone for a walk and it's been really nice as that person hasn't seen anybody for the whole couple of months in that way. So yeah.
That's really good. By the way, just to Stacey, this one, did you see that latest comment go up on the screen there?
Yeah,
Your mum's
she's
listening on,
sweet.
just checking up that you're doing okay.
Yeah, she's just checking in on me, really.
Yeah, that's it, absolutely. So, with the new changes in the lockdown rules, Michelle, we're now allowed to meet somebody with proper social distancing. So, have you met anybody in that way at all? Is that something that you might do if the opportunity was there?
Yeah, because I think it's definitely needed. If they're not classed as in the vulnerable bracket and are able to get out, then yeah, going out for walks and just getting out, just to break that feeling of we can't do anything but stay in the house, as long as we keep our minds aware of what's going on, but just not being in fear of it, really. Just
Mm.
if we're in the health bracket to go out and go for a walk, then yeah, um,
Yeah.
Just
it's
try and keep 2 meters away from everybody.
yeah, just being yeah.
Yeah, it is slightly weird still. Um, I found personally that when you're out, everybody seems like they're being really loud, and you realise they're not. It's pretty normal, but you're just not used to people being around, as there's been more people around with the nicer weather and a few people coming in. I mean, it's still so much quieter than normal, but it feels loud. It feels like there's lots of people. Have you come across yet? Maybe you can comment on this as well, Stacey. Are people really struggling with being at home with loneliness, and are they how are people coping? Do you think with the isolation of lockdown as it's been?
Sorry.
Hello?
I was wondering who was going to speak then. I think definitely at the beginning there was a lot of people really struggling, and from it was just finding new ways to cope, because what your coping mechanism might have been seeing people, or getting out and about and having routine, and having that took away from you has really shook some people. But I do feel that people have settled into a new routine and finding ways to overcome those barriers, and the internet's been absolutely amazing in that, hasn't it? And now it's just great that that's lifted again even more, and we can meet in groups up to 6 and get that connection with people from a distance. I met someone on Saturday, and it's so weird to meet someone and not to hug them, not because it feels instinctive to give someone a hug, because that's very much what we do, and it just feels so weird, like staying back and not doing that customary hug or contact with them. It's really bizarre.
Right, yeah. Gemma, what are your thoughts on how the church can sort of be involved at this time then in changing those kind of things? What difference can we make at this moment?
I think the church is making a big impact with...
You've still got your microphone muted, I think, Gem, personally at home.
No, I could hear you, Jeb.
No, you're still muted.
Oh,
then you came through.
Okay.
Yeah, we can hear you now.
Okay. I didn't do anything. I think the church is making a huge impact in the way that it's getting out there online, and in the way it can be. It's being the most visible it can in these times of being in lockdown and not being able to perhaps be actually physically in the community, but we're being a great voice, and I think we're being a strong voice and a positive voice. And
oh, we've lost you again. That's odd.
Keep holding on to the anchor of hope that is Jesus. Let's keep pushing forward in that we know God will turn everything into good for his glory. And I think the way that we're daily communicating with our church and allowing anybody to grab hold of that is great. I've never heard so much from you, Pastor Paul, in your daily...
Yeah, but is that good or bad?
It's great. So I think the
Jim, I don't want to interrupt you at this moment, but I'm having real sound issues at this end. I think you can still hear me, but I now can't hear anybody. So if you could just carry on hosting the Q&A for a little while, Gemma. Can you hear me? Yeah, if you can carry on hosting it for a little while. Oh, Dan says we keep losing Gemma as well. I don't know quite what's going on. There's some funny things going on in the background on this computer that I'll try and sort. But that you're breaking up. Stacey, could you just try saying hello, talking for a little bit? Can we hear you? No, you see, you've disappeared as well. To me, it's very odd. I'm not really sure what is going on. It's a brand new problem. One of those problems that we get here on We're Talking Live. I don't even know if anybody can hear me right now, but I'm just hoping that you can. There's just some very odd things going on with my sound. Are you still there, Gemma? I wonder if they can hear you. You just keep cutting in and out all the time. You definitely. I can't hear you. Can anybody else? I suppose you guys can hear. I don't know whether it's. Ah, it's Skype that's causing all these issues. So I'm going to have to say goodbye to all of you and then reconnect you while we're here on screen. So if anybody can hear me out there, Christine says you can hear me. The guests are fading in and out. I'm going to have to say goodbye to you all and then ring you all back while we're here live on air, which will be interesting. We haven't had any problems with Skype till now, but here we go. We'll try it. So they should all disappear off the screen, and you'll just have a blank Skype there at the moment. And we'll have another go and see if we can reconnect with everybody here on Skype. So let's have a go. And see if we actually contact with them. We don't know. This will be interesting to see if it happens. Never actually had to try and do it while we're here on live. Yeah, Jossie says he's having to... Yeah, my auto level was being affected by Skype. So when I looked in the actual settings, my level, it was going up and down and up and down and up and down. So that's a bit of an issue if it keeps trying to do that. That should have just made me a lot louder and maybe... No, you see, that's not behaving itself either. We're having real issues today. I'm really sorry about that. I'll come over right over. That doesn't work. I'll bring this into the screen. That's my microphone, and that might help with the volume thing. But I don't seem to be getting anything back from the Skype call, which is a bit of a shame, really. Today, it's worked so well so far when we've done these different calls. Let's just have another go here. Let's completely close Skype down. This is the last chance. If not, we'll try something else entirely. It's always frustrating, isn't it, when you've had something that works really well, and then all of a sudden it doesn't. You got a quick glimpse of the screen then. Yeah, I think Skype, unfortunately, is not playing today. We'll have to try that another time. Does anybody else want to have a go at asking some questions just before we do anything else today? Because I think we've unfortunately lost the three ladies. I can't seem to get them back at all, and nothing's happening there. So if anybody else wants to throw some questions at me, we could probably go with that. That would be quite fun. Anybody else out there got something to throw at me? I don't... maybe you can't actually hear me. No response from anybody. Okay, well, I'm going to have to assume this isn't actually working, unfortunately, then. And yeah. Okay, I've got... Oh, Brian has sent me a question in. How do you see this as a church in Scarborough helping the community when coming out of lockdown? Do you see this as a new opportunity in working with all congregations? Is that kind of a prophetic question then, Brian? That you are saying in all congregations? Are you thinking of multiple congregations across this area? I'm kind of just oh, great, thank you. I'm getting lots of hear you finds coming through. There's obviously also quite a delay on the thing. So when I'm saying why it's taking quite a while. How do you see us as the church in Scarborough? Brian said. Let's go back to that question. Coming out of lockdown, do you see this as a new opportunity in working with all congregations? All congregations, all other churches, all congregations across Kingdom Faith, or us having multiple congregations, I'm not quite sure. But for me, actually, it's not so much the congregations thing that's the real key at the moment. what is really key at the moment is that households are going to be where things are really happening, where God is really connecting into the community. So it's about using what we have in our homes, using our own connections, making connections with neighbours. There needs to be a lot of for the church to really respond in how the Holy Spirit is leading us right now. It's about us making those kind of decisions in our household. This is what we will do. In the past, we've tended to look towards what is the church doing, and we mean the whole organization. And we need to be looking at, okay, I can have, I can help my neighbor get some shopping in. I can meet with my neighbor for cups of tea as lockdown changes. We could have a couple of neighbors around for barbecues right now. And it's almost like the nature of lockdown right now with the 6-person limit. I still believe that God is very much using this because it kind of forces us not to do the big things, not to do the big events. And it's not that God doesn't like them. I believe it's great when we do our Christmas events and things like that. But we're talking about going into a time when we can do some of those things, and we can also be connecting with different neighbors, different organizations, but as our households. It talks about in Acts 2:42 being devoted to the breaking of bread. Well, that's not just communion. That literally means the breaking of bread. It's a euphemism for really being together and eating meals together. Or we could term it having coffee together, sitting outside, having a drink together, or even potentially you can have barbecues and things like that right now. So I don't so much think this is something. There is things to think about that we do as a whole church and across congregations, but we've also got to think small, and we've also got to enable the small and give people not independence, just do your own thing regardless, but kind of an autonomy to make decisions and get on and do some of the things that make a difference. And we're not necessarily we're not talking about huge big things. These are just ordinary things. And hopefully you've had that opportunity so far on your street to just meet some new people, whether it's from giving away cakes or just as you walk down the street. And we're going to have to make the most of those kind of opportunities, because the difference we should make in a town is that we're really friendly people, we're helpful people. Jesus said to the church, "You're the light of the world." He wasn't just looking at the big church building. He was looking at the people in front of him, and it's the people that we are now that is the light of the world, because Jesus, the light of the world, is in us. So it's an exciting opportunity that's sort of laid out there before the church. And even when we come out of this meeting in sixes, it's going to be a time for us to still consider and think in these small things, because a church is made up of these small groups, and it's kind of forcing us right now to think like that. And I think this is a good thing. I'm not quite sure. Gemma's got a question here. This gives us more confidence, I think, Brian, to be more... Oh, okay. Sorry. I thought you were saying there, Gemma, as I read that. This gives us more confidence, I think, to have Brian more involved personally. That's not what you're saying. You're saying this gives us more confidence, I think, Brian, you're answering his question, to be involved personally, as God has been drawing us closer. Hopefully we are bolder to talk to people and help people. Yeah, I think you've got it right on the nail there, Gem. That's exactly what it is about. It's about that personal connection, and really from that, personally, everybody having a confidence. Actually, this is my time to be involved. This is my time to have that kind of a connection. Thanks, Gem. That's a great comment. Hey Gemma, you're back online. Well, thank you very much for joining me. Let's nip back to that. There we go. We got you back, Gem. Awesome. So, do you want to expand a little bit on your comment there? You were just saying this gives us more confidence to be involved. What? I kind of get what you're meaning. I completely misread it. First of all, would you like to expand a bit there?
I was just replying to Brian in that I think been a great time to stand and be a disciple and to be mature in God ourselves personally. Growth and being part of our relationship with Jesus and him drawing us closer. So I think to be involved more in the community, actually, this is giving us personally a push to.
Yeah, you are back on screen, by the way, Stacey. In case you not realised, you are here with us now, so it's good. I don't know whether Michelle will get back on. Sorry to interrupt you there, Gemma. I wasn't sure whether Stacey was actually aware that she was back on the live stream, so I thought it was only polite to tell her. We'll see if Michelle manages to reconnect as well. Carry on, Gem.
Being stronger, being more mature in Christ, and having that boldness to step out individually rather than always depending on, I suppose, the church as a building or the church as a something. Actually, we are the church. And we've always said, haven't we, in our church personally, go and be the church. And this is time for us to be the church. And we don't have our four walls anymore, so we can't even use them as an excuse. We have been pushed out and shoved out and told to get on with it, basically, by the Lord, and said, come on, let's almost see, do you really believe, do you really believe what I've
it's
put
almost
in you?
like God's called our bluff.
Yeah.
You've been talking about this for a long time now. Are you actually going to do it? Do you actually believe that, it's not all about leaders? It's not all about the big church building. It's about the individual households. I really so much feel, that is what God's saying. How do you feel about that, Stacey? I mean, you're going to be embarking on this whole new way of life with baby coming as well. How do you feel about this whole challenge? Oh, the household.
Yeah, I feel that, especially, I really agree with what Jem said, and for me, it's like the safety blanket's been took away, because the church is the church being that safe place, and the safety blanket's been pulled away really, and being challenged to go and as a house church leader, we quite often talk about this, about being the church in our community, but it's time for us to step out and do that really, and there isn't the crutch of necessarily inviting someone to a meeting, but it's more about conversation and building up those relationships, because it comes out of relationships, doesn't it? And it's just, I think it's a really good chance to do that and to let our light shine in that way. But through community.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's good. What about you, Michelle? Do you feel like this is something that you guys as a family will be able to respond to?
Yeah, I mean, I think God's been teaching us as a whole quite a lot, really. And I kind of, my sons have got their gym in the back garden. They were constantly going to the gym Monday to Friday. And they've had to they've got all the equipment in the garden now, so they work out all the time. And I compare it to that, really. It's like what we've learned in the church, or what we've been discipled to do, what the Bible teaches us. We haven't got the church, they haven't got the gym, so we have to go in our house, and if we're not training and we're not keeping up with it, then we sort of grow weak. So you have to apply it every day, like they're training every day, and what they would do in the gym, but you've got to do it at home, otherwise they're just gonna lose what they've built up, I suppose. And it's the same with us. If we don't sort of keep the workout, the training, everything, the studying, what God's teaching us, then at home we haven't got the church to go to. So I think it's been a massive time of learning new ways of doing things. Yeah, that's good. Brian's talking about agreement. He was saying that his earlier point was more about the people of the town working together, and this last comment he's thinking of in Luke chapter 5, where they call on the other boats to help out with the fishing. And well, absolutely. I mean, the church is working together, but I think the thing is, for me,
we need to think less of institutions trying to work together as just the people working together. We can do things as Christians rather than, we've got to have Ebenezer Church work with Kingdom Faith Church, work with Burniston Methodist. In this lockdown, we've had people from other congregations help us to get going. And I've talked to other leaders and given them some help to do things online. And that's, sometimes it's too, I'm not saying you're saying this, Brian, but I think sometimes we've tried to make something too formal and too, we've got to have this meeting. We need to have a joint prayer meeting, and we'll have to have all these restrictions though, so that everybody's happy. Well, why not have the joint prayer meeting in somebody's garden? And there'd be no church leaders present. It's stuff like that where Christians are just working together. Dan has got to take us in a completely different direction. Sorry, was that rather loud? Did I make you jump, Gem?
No,
Dan,
I was going to put something in there. Sorry.
Oh, put something in before I jump into Dan's point.
Just to encourage, I suppose, what you were saying. Like, prior to lockdown, I have great friends across many different churches, and they are mums and they have children. And for the last 2 years, maybe, we've been meeting every week in we rotate sometimes, but mainly one of their houses. And they are ladies from Burniston, from Ebenezer, from Kingdom Faith. And we meet and we chat and we encourage one another. And it's so refreshing to have people that perhaps think a bit differently because they're taught differently on a Sunday, or they might pray differently, or they just have different views and perceptions on things because their backgrounds are different. And actually, it's been so encouraging to pray with them and to be challenged myself with not shrinking back in those situations, but being forward in those situations when we pray together and when we speak honestly about just home life and children's life and who we are and what we're doing. And I've learnt so much from them. So I think regardless of denomination, we can learn and teach one another and love upon one another so richly. It is just finding people you connect with, regardless of what church they're from. Find those people and keep them, and talk to them and fellowship with them regularly.
And you know what? I would add, maybe controversially, I don't know, I would add, and people not in churches.
Yeah.
Let's think about people of Scarborough and do things with people. It's good to be in groups which have nothing to do with church. Let's enjoy one another's company. If we're going to be liked, we've got to be liked by being with people. Let's go to Dan's change the direction question. I quite like this. Be interesting to see, and maybe people could contribute by their thoughts online here as well, and we can put it up on screen. But Dan says, what are people's favourite moments in lockdown? What's a positive you have experienced? I think that's a really good question. Let's process that for a minute, everybody watching. Share, please, in the comments here. Share on screen. Have you got some favourite moments from lockdown? What is a positive you have experienced? Let's try that one. I'm going to share, to give you guys on screen a moment extra to think. I'm going to share one of mine. I haven't got out as much as I want because I've been really, really busy, but I have loved some of my lockdown walks around Scarborough. Actually, even this on Saturday, I was walking around the castle, just taking photographs. I was out with Kate, and you just see so many. Oh, that's so beautiful. I mean, I must have looked like a complete tourist, and I'm less than 2 minutes from my house. And it's been such a blessing to really appreciate where I live, on the outside. I mean, it's helped that we've had such gorgeous weather. So a positive for me is I have really enjoyed also being outside the house. Shona and John are saying a similar thing. John says spending more time with my wife. Yeah, well, it's helped that she's stuck at home as well, hasn't it? So, and Shona says spending quality time with my husband. So maybe this is a good thing. So you guys around the screen here. Sorry, I'm momently distracted by John's next comment. But have you got some positive moments from lockdown? that many?
Yeah, I think for me, like, definitely time quality with the family. I think that's really. Sorry.
No, go for it.
But I really enjoy the clapping on the street. I think that's really because
yes.
I'm from somebody. I've grown up with street parties, families celebrating certain things, and so that community of like street clapping and things that's been really. I don't know. There was just something in that that's been really nice to be a part of.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, I like that too, actually. That's how we've met and spoken to neighbours. Initially, it used to be, oh, well, see you in a week. But there's been a lot more interaction during the week as well now. Any of you others, guys, or anybody, again, in the comments, be great to have a few more sort of favourite moments of lockdown. It's good to talk about the positive things and be thankful for them, isn't it?
Yeah. I'd follow on from Michelle, really. Like, I've really enjoyed spending time with John. I should probably say that.
Probably,
no,
as he said, he liked it with you.
That taking away the busy, like our lives were very, very busy. You know, we both do different things in the church and we've both got busy jobs. So to just have that solid time at home where we know we're going to see each other has been absolute, like, it's been wonderful and it's been really good. And I felt like I've got to know him more, like, and it's been really good. But yeah, from the clapping, we've like just a few of our neighbours, like we've got to know them, and we've got some neighbours who were doing Ramadan, and to get to know them over that, and they gifted us some amazing food, and the samosas were out of this world. But, but it's been a really good, that's been such an amazing time for us that it was a catalyst that started conversation. But now if we're out in the street, if people are out going to their bins, because we've all got very small gardens where we live, people don't just say hello, they stop and they want to chat, and they ask what's going on, what's new, and it isn't just a 2-minute, like a 30-second kind of, oh, how you doing? The other night I got home and before I'd even got to the front door, someone came over to ask me a question, and I was still there an hour later. And I never spoke to my neighbours before lockdown. Not for any particular reason, but yeah, it's brilliant. It's been really good for that.
Yeah, I really hope that's something we can hold on to after lockdown, because we'll get back to busyness, won't we, in some ways, I'm sure, if it even, just our neighbours do, even if we manage to resist it. So I hope we manage to keep those connections. Wouldn't it be amazing if this horrible thing that's come up on the nation was actually something that brought neighbours together? Shona adds that she's enjoyed Hub Online, where we can chat with people even though we can't meet up. Yeah, that's been fun. It's quite funny getting sent into the breakout rooms and having your time-limited conversation, but it's just nice to see people's faces. And Joss is same as Shona and John, but also spending more time with my family remotely. Zoom calls have been a great addition to our family. Yeah. I mean, I've heard of families that never used to contact one another, and now they've actually been in touch with one another even more. Just Jossie says we're so spread out, and it's been spread out families that have actually spent more time together because they've been doing some Zoom calls. That's amazing, isn't it? What positive experiences from you, Michelle?
Well, okay, another one. Technology.
Picked on you twice. Sorry, I can't keep track of everything. Technology. Well, yeah, without it would have been a very lonely lockdown. Yeah. So it must be you, Gemma, that I've missed then.
Yeah. I suppose for me, seeing the children obviously more, but actually seeing what they're capable of, because I'm used to missing quite a chunk of their day when they're at school, and it's been a real blessing to. Especially the eldest one, give her some worksheets and actually see what she's capable of doing. And, she's so used to telling us everything, but to physically see it has been a real blessing. And on a completely personal note, I've never felt so healthy as I do now, because I have time to eat, I have time to sleep and to take care of myself. And we've been exercising lots and working out and going on loads of bike rides, and just having the time to stop and actually invest in me, spiritually and physically, and just every possible way has been amazing. Yeah, I don't know how it's going to look when it all slowly goes back to some form of normality, but I know as a family we know the things we want to keep from this period and actually not rush back into how it always has been. So that's been a real positive. Even the children have said things they would like to keep as a new normal, if you like, as opposed to just letting everything go back.
Yeah, I think that's good. I mean, you hear, on the television or on social media, what you've just said, that whole thing about, what we're going to keep from this. And a lot of people, especially when you've got a family at home, I know we've heard of, not good things happening, but that's because we don't hear of the good things. And I think actually a lot of families have really enjoyed spending time together. Probably teenagers have never spent so much time with their parents since they were little. Jossie, this is actually from Hannah though. This time has been really good for me to learn more about myself and how I grow and process various things. Well, that's interesting. Maybe it's just having that time. Perhaps God really is trying to say to all of us, just slow down a bit. We do tend to live at quite a fast pace. Brian's favourite things of lockdown are going with walks with Shona, working at the Rainbow Centre, online Light to North, personal study, prayer meetings, studying with others, online Zoom. Sounds like you're really busy, Brian. But yeah, they're all the kind of things that would tend to get put to one side. It's this connection thing. I did watch something on YouTube last night, and this is as we begin to wind up, but it is just revealing a bit of my geekiness. And it was the guy, I can't remember his name, Josh Gad, is it, that does the voice of Olaf, the snowman in Frozen? I'm looking at Gemma on my screen because I'm thinking she'd be saying, oh, yes, I know the voice of Olaf, the snowman. You should be just shocked that I know he's Olaf, the snowman. But somehow he had managed to get, it was around 20 people from the Lord of the Rings films. It was the entire fellowship plus some extras. And they were all gathered on Zoom, and it was the first time they'd all been together in any way since they did the films. So, but it was quite amusing because they were saying a lot of the things that you're saying right now. They've had time to do things, time to connect, and just even things like that. What fun it was to talk to one another again. And then they were doing little odd clips from the movie. But you could see there was a genuine joy at being back together again. And just chatting about it. Karina adds, spending time with my children and being able to worship and read the Bible with them. Yeah, that's really good. This is the kind of thing we've got to hold on to. Alex Bryan, having free evenings has been nice. Being able to put Noah to bed every night. Yeah, these are some of the really good things. I don't know how we stop from getting too busy. I mean, we can't hide in our homes forever. We do need to reconnect with the world. You guys, I know we lost you all, but we managed to reconnect with you all. I didn't change a thing from my end. I just tried it again, and it all worked. So goodness knows what that was. There were some funny things going on, though. But thank you for being part of it, Gemma and Michelle and Stacey, and some great answers to some great questions. So thanks, everybody, for coming along this afternoon to the Q&A. It's been more of an adventurous one than normal. I think there's always a few issues with this one because it is so live. You never know quite what's going to happen because it always comes out of the questions that people bring. If you're going to tune in future ones, bear in mind as you watch maybe the videos during this week as I go through Philippians 2 and what's said on Sundays or in any other times, if you think of anything, that would be a good topic that I could bring to the Q&A. I really like Dan's question, actually. Something positive out of lockdown. That was a really good thing to reflect on. So bring something along next time. As always, I'm going to say, if you've enjoyed this video, please press the like button. It makes a huge difference to our channel here on YouTube. If you haven't subscribed, I suspect a lot of you watching right now have, but if you haven't, please subscribe to this channel. It's been great to connect with you this afternoon. If you like this sort of thing, this Q&A thing, if it works for you, please let me know, because obviously we keep it in review, whether we're going to keep it going, whether it's working, etc, etc. It'd be great to hear from you. But yeah, do like, do subscribe, and we'll catch up with you again soon. Been great to be with you this afternoon. Thank you, everybody. God bless you.
Light of the world, radiant in glory, bright morning star, you are holy, righteous and pure, perfect in all you are, Lamb of God, you are holy, you are holy, Jesus, you are holy. Beginning and end.